No one tells you this. Becoming can break the version of you once loved. Not because you were bad, not because you were wrong. Because when we are growing, what once felt comfortable can start feeling heavy. Conversation changes, habits no longer suits you. Places that felt like home can feeling start draining you. And then you can then start thinking that, okay, that means something is wrong, right? No, nothing is wrong. You are not regressing. You are not ungrateful. You are becoming. There was a time, like when I started learning sign language, I was just so interested in this thing. It was a hobby. I had no intention at the time that I was going to create a career out of it. It was just an interest, a hobby. I went into my first class. Oh my goodness, such a juicy story. I'll share that in another video. And one of the things that was like the tutor said to us was to go to like a deaf club to practice what we've learned. And being in my shy era at the time, it was just so fascinating. And to me at the time, it felt like I was coming into, I was gonna say like secret society. No, it's just like it's such a beautiful language that I love that I just felt like not everyone knows this thing, and we're gonna be hanging out, we're gonna be doing this thing, and like you know what I mean, like it would start breaking me out of this shyness, right? So my intention was always to go in, like practicing what we've learned. And when I first went in there, and it was, oh my gosh, you know how it is. You might not know, but anyway, especially if you're shy, awkward. But we did. I had the intention. We're going with what we're learning, and the first one was like, okay, no, we had to change things up. I went with the intention of having conversation based on the things I've learned the week before, or the week before the class, or the lesson before the meetup. Anyway, so that was my thing. So I always find a way to weave in whatever I've learned the previous class to the event, to the club, like going there. And it was always a thing I would like, and like, like you're starting out, you can't have proper conversations. You can't, like, you're still doing A, B, C, like British Sign Language and D, like it's like everything, it's awkward. But the intention was there to keep learning, and it was, I was finding a way to like learn phrases, and it was so good. I was feeling like, yeah, I'm part of this thing, right? And we got going. I remember one particular day. It was just so beautiful. I arrived, sat down. This guy went and grabbed himself a drink and came down, and we were like chatting, like that's the best I could at the time. I mean, I still could not. I was still learning one or two phrases, and it wasn't like one to like really spring out like a huge conversation. I could pick things here and there. And we had just learned the class before this thing. We just learned prepositions. And it was more kind of like the cat is on the table, the cat is on the beside, behind, whatever that is. Okay, we will find a way to get this thing in. And we got talking. And then I mentioned it, I guess. And then he was like, when you're drinking, that's what I love about deaf people. It's like you can be drinking and still be using the other hand to like sign away and like whatever. So while I was signing my thing, and he had this puzzle, like put a drink down. And then what has a cat on the table got to do with what we're talking about? And I was like, you got it. Like I was celebrating. I was so happy in my own shy way that you got that. Like he understood what I signed. Okay, it might have made sense in the conversation, but he got what I was saying. You know what I mean? Like I was happy for that. And as time went on, I was able to start having more conversation. I started volunteering, helping with the pack up, with the setup, with setting things up, and we were just doing the thing. I was just like in commute, like helping, like it was just. And when I see them out and about, it was just kind of like, yeah. At the time, I used to work in a till, and my till used to be so long. They would come in and having like practice. Oh, I love those days. It was just so pure gold. And then as time went on, the years went by, I was going up in the levels, and now conversations was now getting deeper because I was now understanding the flow, the language, everything was like we were getting there, you know. Not that I was like it, but it was like I was able to understand what they were saying, and we're able to just have like some meaningful conversations and things like this. And as we started having those conversations, the conversations started going to blaming and shaming, and then this is not mean this does not mean that every deaf club out there is the same or whatever, or every person. No, it's just the people I related to at that time. That's kind of like my experience. It was more kind of like, oh my god, it's like the pine is not filled up, or oh, this this place was like just complaining. And I was always kind of like, yeah, and like trying to bring the other side of things, and like, oh, I would be like, yeah, I agree, or sometimes I'd be like, like, it was by the end of the day, man, I was drained. The energy I used in that was just gonna it became um draining and became heavy, and to the point where I started like doing lots of complaining and lots of like thinking, ooh, I caught myself one time, like, what the, what, what's that? And yeah, it was hard to walk away. And it was a gradual thing. It wasn't like but it got to the point where I did, and I felt grateful and sad at the same time. It was, I think I went through somewhat like a grieving like period at that time, because because of how, how much I've gained and loved and commute and stuff, but it was just not feeding my soul with the way of how I wanted to start being and showing up. That, yeah, I really felt bad. I felt sad, and that I had to do that. But I was grateful for the, yeah, for what they poured into my life. So becoming doesn't always add more. When we think about it, sometimes it doesn't always. It it will sometimes remove things that no longer nourishes us. I am Nene. Your voice matters, and it's your time to use it. We do this every time. Bye for now.